show on the road. So I really didn't. I know coming off the 4th of July, I know that you've done several other webinars and everything. So I wasn't sure if you had a great topic that you thought would be appropriate, or great to kind of talk about today. But I just wanted to kind of put the ball in your court. I know normally I would send you something, a topic or something that we can kind of discuss. But anything, because I know we've been talking. You've been talking about how the you had a conversation with an attorney the other day and that type of thing. So I wasn't sure, how that conversation went, how that would impact, anybody here in Georgia in regards to the, looking to become a probate expert. So I just want to kind of get your thoughts on that.
Let me show you what's possible. 5 years ago, I've been in real estate for 38 years. And I got into sales and done real well. And got kind of recruited into management. And that was a mistake. I look back and I think my generation thought management was always a promotion. And I don't think it's true anymore. I think our economy's changed. I don't think it's true in real estate. And at 60, I was in a job. I was getting paid a lot of money, but they're really golden handcuffs. I didn't like the owner, didn't like what he was doing. I was working for the man. And I got into real estate to run my own business. And so I started 5 years ago. I had no listings, no leads. I knew how to sell real estate because I'd been coaching agents and I was, I'm a good businessman, but I didn't have the resources to start right away. And 5 years later, I've built a great annual income. I have a business with equity value. I am, maybe a year away from replacing my income with residual income from real estate. And it's because I made a commitment 5 years ago to be the LA probate expert and to be all in. And I think that, people I talk to all the time will say, well, how do I get started? And how do I, get a listing? I bought some data, isn't buying data like magic incense? I buy it and then the listings just trickle down to me. And the answer is no, it's hard work. I was on the phone at 8 this morning. Between our call, I was dealing with a partner on a transaction. I'm on the phone call with you at 9. I got a 10 o'clock team meeting. I got a 10:30 listing appointment. I'm on the hunt. Now, I only work 35 hours a week, but I work a solid 35 hours. When I work, I work. When I don't work, I don't work. And so I think I would say to anybody here, I know a lot of agents are struggling. The market got harder. We have big changes coming up. A lot of people are scared. But here's what I'll tell you. There's never been a better time to build a business in real estate than right now if you're willing to do the work. And literally yesterday, I signed a contract to sell 10 probate properties, a portfolio about $10 million. Average commission rate on the listing side, about 4%. So do the math. And, that's on top of the other business I've been doing all year long. Like that's added business. Now I will say at 65, I'm going to pull back a little bit now. And some of these I've been following up on, I'm going to stop following up on and delegating out, referring out. And I need to manage my time effectively. So I don't make it sound like Superman. I have to be very smart. I have to be very efficient and productive. And as I mentioned before I started, my whole life now is about playing with my grandkids. So I want to make money to spend time with them. But what I want to say is, Timmy's watching, it's possible. Are you willing to do the work? And where it's hard, that's not your obstacle. I guess it could be, but that's your opportunity. The harder it is for you, the harder it is for your competition. If you get over the obstacle, then your competition won't. Then you got the business. So that's kind of my overview. And I think that, like anything else in life, you have to start with your mindset. If you get that right, then you'll take the right actions. If you don't have that right, there is no tool, there's no system, there's no vendor that will help you if your mind's not right. I can give you one last example. I don't mean to go on slow here, but
no, go ahead. I mean, it's great stuff. I mean, I think a lot of realtors agents need to hear that.
Well, if you didn't hear that, wait till the next one. And I'm not getting paid to coach you or anybody. I'm not getting paid to sell you anything. I'm just in the next foxhole shooting at the bad guys like you guys are. I'm in the business. Okay, I'm not recruiting you, selling you, I'm not selling you anything. I'm just telling you, trying to be real about what's going on in my career. So part of my business, though, is I do have other agents affiliated with me nationwide as part of my probate team. They've joined my brokerage, and I have 50. I was coaching one earlier this week, and here's a phrase I hear a lot of agents say: nothing is selling right now in my city. And this lady said that about one of the 30 or 40 largest cities in America. Nothing's selling in Tampa, Florida. I said, whoa, stop. Nothing is selling in Tampa, Florida? Well, some is selling, but not as much. Okay, well, that's a different line. Something's selling versus nothing. So let's do the math. In my MLS, which is similar to most, in a good month, we sell about 10,000 sides. Now I'm in LA. It's a huge MLS. So it sounds bigger than it is because we have a lot of markets kind of put together in one big one. So it doesn't really matter. Do your own MLS. In my MLS, we in a good year, good month, we have 10,000 sites. And in a bad month, we only have 7,000, maybe 6,000 sites. Two things are true. One, there's half the agents there were a year ago. So if it went from 11,000 to 6,000, but half the agents are competing, guess what? It's actually better for me. It's like going to a buffet, and if they have all the food out, but only half the people show up, I get whatever I want. I have to wait in line, right? Number one. Number two, how many deals do I need to have a great career? 1 or 2 a month. Out of the bad 6,000, I need 1 or 2. In Tampa, when she pulled the numbers up, there were 500 sales. I said, well, how many do you need? 1 or 2. Well, just get 1 or 2 out of 500. Not 1 or 2 out of 3. Not 1 or 2 out of 2. You only need 1 or 2 out of 500. So I think that we can talk ourselves into depression, or we can talk ourselves into greatness. And I'm here, and I know, Wendell, you and I talk and get along. I think one of the core reasons, we share a lot of values, but one of them is our commitment, meaning I don't have a choice. I have nothing else to do. I'm not going to quit the real estate and go work at McDonald's. This is all I got. And I want to make a lot of money for my family. So my chips are all pushed in. There is no other option. For people who have an option, if you drive an Uber or Lyft, that's your problem. You didn't burn the ships at the shore. So you think there's an option called, and I talk to agents all the time driving Lyft. Can I tell one more story on that?
Yeah, go ahead, Bill. Take your time, man, friend.
I'm on a roll, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
I was watching motivational videos, and I saw this North Carolina Baptist preacher. I'm Jewish, but when I was in college, I went to USC and used to walk by this Baptist church. I just love when the preacher got a roll, man. I love that. So I get myself worked up into that bit. So I have a podcast that ends at 5:00 on Thursdays. And I have a real estate event I do nearby. I have to be there at 5:30. So I've got to finish the podcast, kind of get dressed or get ready, run out the door, and go to the event. So I told myself, if I sign a contract that week, this is a monthly event. If I sign a contract that week, I'm going to treat myself and order an Uber rather than drive my car. And that way, rather than park, I have to walk a block or two. Safety-wise, I'll get dropped off right in front instead of a block or two away. And it's like a little reward, right, for $30. Mm-hmm. So one day I ordered the Uber, and like the difference between the regular and the Uber Black was like $2. Okay, we'll go in style. Why not? So I'm driving this event. Now, this is the biggest in-person real estate event in LA once a month. And I always talk to the drivers, and the driver tells me he's a real estate agent. And he's at an office I used to work for. I said, well, let me ask you this. Do you own the car? He said, yeah. I said, well, why don't you drop me off, park the car, go in? This event's free. He goes, no, I'm going to an event tomorrow that's down by LAX. And I knew the event. So what he was telling me was he was going to go to an event that we're going to charge him $90. When you go to the airport, parking there is like $25, $30. Versus he's already dropping me off at an event for free. But he knows more than I do. His business is so bad, he's driving Uber part-time. He's telling me which event's better for his business. When we get caught up in that negative mindset, it's like we're just ensnared. And I'm doing my best to reach into that pit and put you guys in shake and say, look, you can do this, but you got to get serious about it, get committed to it, put the work in, and you can achieve anything if you put your mind to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, there are some great nuggets that you dropped there, Bill. I mean, and I appreciate that, because it not only does it help you, me, but, of course, everyone on the call. But I think what you said, look, you got to be consistent. You got to be persistent. You got to be disciplined. And I think those are some of the things that you talked about. And you talked about, hey, once I got to a certain point, hey, now I can scale my business. So you got to a certain point where you say, look, I don't have to work 45, 50, or 60 hours a week. Now I can do 35 hours, and I can bring in, some additional agents to help me, and I can scale my business so that way I can work fewer hours. I can dedicate, pretty much, my, 6-7 hours in a day. I can commit to being as efficient and as proficient as possible. Not only that, but then it's like, hey, look, why should I go out and work 8 hours somewhere else when I can spend those additional 8 hours, just like you said, I just need one additional closing per month. If you think about it, just like you said, right now in Metro Atlanta, you figure average sales price for a home is let's say $400,000. If you're making 3%, you're talking about $12,000. Even if you pay your brokerage, you may walk away with, $6,000 to $8,000. So is that not enough to live on? Maybe we need to cut back on the expenses that we have on a monthly basis in order to survive, this recession right now. But, if you work additional 8 hours versus working Uber, you got to pick up, you got to leave your home, go pick up someone. You got to take them wherever, God knows where. You have to work, during the time of, peak time in order to make the most money, which is normally between, let's say 4 and 8. And that's prime time for you to be making, to be prospecting. So of course, I totally get it, and those are things that we should be focusing on versus focusing on other things, running scared. I think a lot of us, we get scared. Look, I've survived 2008. And in 2008, after that, I panicked. I went out and I started a janitorial business, because I figured that was going to be, I was making, I had contracts that was paying me like $15,000 a month, for 12 months. And I said, I'm going to try for 12 months. And of course, I'll go back to mortgages. But one thing I learned about that experience is, hey, had I stayed around, committed myself to another 8 hours a day, hey, I just needed that one additional closing, those two additional closings per month in order to survive, cut down my expenses. And that's what I did this time around. Instead of me focusing, running scared, I just, 10x my business. Now I'm scaling my business. I'm bringing on more loan officers. I'm making more phone calls. I'm prospecting a whole lot more. So instead of me running scared, going off doing other things, this is just like you said, Bill. When you look at my calendar, it's time blocked back to back. From I would say from 9:30 in the morning until 5 p.m. at night.
No, I will say I block out time for exercise every day, for an hour. I either swim or I walk 3 miles at noon every day. So time working doesn't mean I abandon everything else in life. It means I put in the things that need to be there. I have my spiritual practice. I have family time. Yesterday, my wife, went out of town to visit her family, came back. I blocked out to pick her up at the airport, not because I couldn't afford a taxi or an Uber, but she's my wife. Like, that's important relationship time. And the plane landed at 2:00. Well, I didn't have a choice. That's when I had to be there. So I made it work. I still got the listings, right? It did get in the way of getting the listing signed. So the point is, you can make it work if you're committed. That's the key.
Yeah, I totally agree. But again, you've got to be committed and disciplined to doing it. I think, and you don't have to block off a whole day all at once. Just start with the, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour. So, and then, like you said, when it comes to those important time with your family, hey, block that off. So it's not like you can't make calls on the way to the airport. You figure it takes you 30 to 45 minutes to get to the airport. That's time you can make phone calls. So it's not like, you have to sit there and listen to the radio, make phone calls. And what I typically do is I'll print off a list of phone calls I need to make. And then, of course, once I print off that list, I can make those phone calls while I'm driving wherever, whether it's picking up family, whether it's going to the grocery store, whatever it is. You can always use your time wisely.
Right. These days, I listen a lot to podcasts. Of late, in real estate, we have some big changes coming up, so I want to make sure I'm dialed in on the new procedures for real estate agents or contracts, and probate. I have my own podcast, listen to other podcasts and other education sources. So, I don't listen to music. I mean, I do when I'm getting dressed in the morning, to be honest. I put on some upbeat, positive music to get me kind of moving and dancing in the shower and all that. But I think it's important to educate yourself. And so when there's time to educate, there's time to entertain and have fun, but it's about being committed. And you have to figure out, what you need to do to get to the level you want to get to. But for most people, and I would just maybe take exception to one thing you said, most people don't spend enough time developing business, and their problems all stem from I don't have any business. And then when they don't have business, they'll find distracting things to do because they're in pain, they don't have business. And so what I urge people is block out, and generally I would say in the morning until noon, every day, your job is to find some business. Either door knock, phone call, go to an event. In probate, go to court, because there's attorneys there, there's families there, you can learn. But you need to put in time every day to build a business when you don't have any business. And then as you have some, you can continue to put in some time in your business to keep your business growing. So I would say block out, and for anybody who's starting, I would say it probably looks like, whenever your work time is until noon every day, you should be blocking out for business development, whatever that means.
Yeah. And so based upon what you just stated, that Bill, that's the purpose of this call. That's why we're doing this Zoom meeting, me and you, is to help people to grow their business. Do you know how many people are dying every day? I don't know not one person on planet Earth that will not die. So when you think about, what you can do with the call that we have, or this meeting that we have once a month, it's only once a month. I think absolutely every real estate agent should be on this call every month, especially right now. If by them looking to build their business, again, this is the to me the most simplest way to go out and build it. I mean, you got funeral homes, like I say, you got attorneys. I mean, there are multiple ways to go out and generate business through probate. So and again, I guess if it were easy, everyone would do it. But to me, if everyone is not doing it, guess what? I'm going to 10x that and go out and generate as much business as I can in probate.
I'm all for you on the 10x thing, man. Brad Cardone is my coach. I got one back there too, I think. Yeah, right there. Literally, I'll share with you that when I sell a listing, I start sending a gift to the buyer's agent to thank them for selling the property, and I send them a copy of 10x. I think it's such a valuable tool for mindset that whatever you're doing, you probably need to do 10 times as much. And I talk to agents all the time, and they'll say, well, I'm struggling. And how many are in your database? 50. You need 500. Like, you need to be talking to people to get to 500. How often you talk to them? I email once a month. You need to 10x that. Send out an email every week, social media, videos. So 10x is a good metaphor for, whatever you're doing, you have to really blow it up. Incrementalism isn't going to get you where you want to go. You really need to think about transformational increases.
Yeah. And a lot of times, we get caught up chasing these shiny objects. There are so many things there that you can do, but focus on one thing. Focus on one thing and 10x it. I guarantee you that once you focus on that one thing, you 10x it. You'll be surprised as to what that will do for your business.
Yeah, I'm all about that. I think, I have agents all the time who call me different ideas, all the time. Like, geez, why don't you just do what you're supposed to do? And and I'm not. It's funny because I know there's coaches on real estate agents and mortgage people, and they're very friendly. And all you have to do is, call 5 people a day. Like, that's a famous one from one of the more famous real estate coaches. Great guy, but here's what I'm going to tell you. Yes, 5 is better than none. Okay, I get it. You got to start somewhere. Okay, I got it. But if you only talk to 5 people a day, you're going to starve. Like, go work at McDonald's. Just don't even bother calling 5 people a day. You need to call for 4 hours a day. Get through everybody you've ever met in your life on the phone. When you're done, then start talking to strangers. But what people do is they get the shiny object. Oh, I'm going to call probates. So they buy the data of strangers. Now they're scared to call the strangers because they don't know what to say. So they sit there and talk about that all day long, and they've still not called all the people they know already. So the agents I coach, I make them commit to me 2 things. One, you can't spend more than $100 and call it business without my approval. You know, if you want to buy a new purse or shoes and call it personal, that's your business. But don't call it business. It's personal. Buy whatever you want. But don't confuse yourself and call that an investment. Because if you buy data and you don't call it, you're just wasting money. You're paying to waste your time and money. You can't afford to do that.
Yeah, I totally agree. And especially now when you think about the time and energy that you wasted trying to research that data, trying to get the data, you know, you spent maybe 3 to 4 hours just doing that. So that's 3 to 4 hours that you could have been making phone calls, prospecting. You know, even if you pick up your phone and you go through your phone and you pull up the number of contacts in your phone, I guarantee you everybody on this call probably have at least 500 contacts. So to me, that's more of a CRM than anything, because every person that we meet, you know, we store it into our phone, no matter who it is, no matter where we are, whether it's a contractor, whether it's, you know, some other person that is, you know, is a business owner or whomever. It's, you know, you have it right there. On there, just pick up the phone and dial versus you going out buying a list. You don't need a list. The list is already created. These are people that you've met over the years that you have some type of relationship with. You know, whether it's a former, you know, buyer that you have. You know, they may be in another state, but I'm pretty sure that they may know somebody in Georgia. So a lot of times we waste our time and energy doing things that we shouldn't be doing.
You know, everybody has in their phone $100,000 business. They just don't organize in a way that's of value to themselves. But everybody has it. You're right. It's amazing what we have. You used to have to buy fancy CRMs to accumulate everything. Now, everybody has the CRM in their phone. Everybody. It's crazy. I don't know. I wish I could. It's very frustrating.
Yeah. I totally agree. And look, it's just like you said. There's a lot of business out there. I mean, lot of business. People are closing every day. Just like you said, even though it went from 10,000 to 6,000, you know, look, there's still a huge buffet out there. There's some
huge, more than I can eat, more than I can handle.
Yeah. So I mean, that's so to me, I think you have to look at your mindset. What are you doing? I mean, what are you thinking about every morning? Every morning, the first thing I do when I get up, I'm writing down my affirmations. Okay, I'm going to close $9.63 million this month. You know, I'm going to close $500,000 this month in commercial real estate. Look, I have on tomorrow, I have a $2.2 million assisted living facility that I'm closing on tomorrow, and then I'm going to refinance that client. He has a $600,000. Well, he has another $2 million assisted living facility, and I'm going to refinance that for him. So again, I mean, it comes down to what are we doing? And this is somebody that I had in my phone, you know, already in my CRM. This is someone that I picked up and called who's a business owner. Reached out to him, asked him if he needed help with anything. At that time, he was in a situation where he was trying to find funding, you know, for his assisted living facilities. And I just called him. I mean, it's just that simple. I didn't buy a list. I didn't buy anything else, but this is a person I already had a relationship with.
There you go. And I also think that you really want to come from being a service and helping people. The customer I just got this package of listings from is a friend I helped find a job at this company as a fiduciary. So they brought him in and he's getting paid, he's happy. And when it came time to sell property, of course, who's he going to call? Right? So it's really about, you know, this, it sounds like I just got this package, but I've been working on this in some regards for a year. In some regards, my whole career. I've known this guy for 25 years. And you don't know where the next deal comes from. You know, a lot of real estate agents, this is the funniest part. So I've now gone back and checked, and I want to say I've done a really good job on building a probate business. But it is astonishing how much of the business came from people I already knew. I just didn't know that they knew anything about probate or had a need. One example is my wife and I had a friend, and the friend had a daughter, my daughter's age. So today, back then she was a teenager when we met her, and we met her at a friend's house for dinner, the mother and the daughter. And then years later, we were at the same friend's house, and the daughter was there. Now she's grown, about 26 years old. And my wife and I were there for dinner and saw her and said hi. And then one day I was at probate court, and there she was. I said, "Oh, hi, what are you doing here?" And it wasn't like, in a creepy pickup way. She was just kind of curious. "What are you doing here?" And I said, "Well, I'm a probate real estate expert, and I work with families on probate properties." She said, "Well, I don't really tell many people this, keep it confidential, but my father is in a conservatorship, and he has his whole portfolio of property he needs to sell." I didn't know about going to dinner, but I was in court and saw her and struck up the conversation. Similarly, I was in court one day, and a longtime friend of mine walked by me. I knew he was an attorney. He's not a probate attorney, he's a civil attorney. But when you do civil litigation, your best clients have big estates and often end up in probate matters. And he bumped into me, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm a probate real estate expert. I'm here every day. I focus on probate real estate. That's really interesting. I have a case, blah, blah, blah. Next thing you know, I'm selling a couple $1 million worth of his properties, and he's the attorney on this other package." So am I lucky? I guess. Am I blessed? For sure. Did I do the job? Yeah, I went to court every single day. I was there at 7:45 until 10:30, Monday through Friday, for years. Was I lucky? Maybe, but I also worked hard. So if you intersect luck and hard work, and with God's blessing, all things are possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree. And while you were sitting there saying that, Bill, if you think about every contact in our phone, I guarantee that every contact, no one is going to survive this thing called death. So, I mean, everyone in there will need some type of assistance when it comes to probate.
For themselves or for their family members.
Yeah, I totally agree. Everyone.
But be an expert. For me, I buy the California Probate Code 2024 edition. And now it's a big book. I only have to read about 100 pages that relate to real estate. So when I have a conversation, I literally had the attorney that does the training class for California Association of Realtors on probate call me to ask me how I was interpreting the probate code as it relates to the new changes with the NAR settlement. I'm getting a little complicated, but my point is, here's a guy who trains realtors for a living and is a probate expert attorney, and he knows enough to call me to even ask my opinion. That doesn't mean I know more than him, but he does value my opinion, that he knows that. How many of you are known by any attorney at all? Well, if they know you to be an expert, when they have a problem, they're going to call you. How do you get there? I did the work. I went to court, I read, I put out content, and as a result, it changed business.
Yeah. And that's because, just like you said, Bill, you were there in that space. And a lot of times we think of ourselves as if, we're not, if we don't do it on a consistent basis, we will not be known as that expert. If we're not promoting that, hey, my name is Bill Gross and I am a probate expert. We don't let people know what we do. And I would probably say in the state of, in the Metro Atlanta area, we probably have, maybe at least a minimum of 1,000 probate, attorneys or whatever that you can reach out to. But they don't know about you, but you know about them. I mean, how simple is it to go out and Google them and say, hey, look, I want to be a probate expert on your team. Letting them know, hey, look, I'm here to help you. Anytime you have issues going on with clients who don't have a realtor, hey, let me know. I'm here to help. Let me be your probate expert.
Yeah, how many realtors are notary? You could offer the training to notarize the documents, go out in the field and get the customer to sign documents. How many of you could drive by a property when the attorney has to do an estimate of value, rather than just Zillow or Google, you could drive the property, take photos, and give them a broker price opinion for free. There's a lot of things we can do. Ask them what they need. I find that attorneys really appreciate recorded documents because they need the legal description to put in their filings. So whatever it is, find out what they need and give it to them. It's not that complicated, really.
Yeah, and we were talking about all the closings. Just like I said, you only need one. So just imagine if you get one probate closing, you have one probate closing a month, and then you have other closings or another closing. I mean, that's two. But you have to put in the work to go out there and get those closings. To get the numbers that you're looking for, you have to put the work in.
Yeah, put the work in, man. There's no way around that.
No. Just like you said earlier, what we do is we make it hard. It's simple, but we make it hard. I mean, it's not overly complicated. We just overthink it.
Well, I think the term is simple, not easy.
Yeah, simple, not easy. Yeah,
it's simple. It's not really that complicated, but it's not easy. You got to do the work.
Yeah. Well, hey, Bill, I know we're at that 12:30 mark. Well, 9:30 for you. Wasn't sure if anyone had any questions, anything like that, or any topics that you guys want to discuss next month. Let us know, and we'd be more than happy to discuss those topics next month. And Bill, I really appreciate you jumping on for 30 minutes and just dropping some great nuggets. Of course, to everyone.
My pleasure. Always glad to chat with you. If I hear anybody who's on the call, you can reach out to me social media at Bill Goes Probate. I host probateweekly.com. Thursday is 4 p.m. Pacific time. Register at probateweekly.com and you'll get either an invite or a recorded version if you like.
Okay. All right. You guys have any questions? All right. I guess not, Bill. Well, hey, man, I appreciate it. Even though we didn't specifically talk about probate, but we talked about how you can go out and generate business, of course, in the probate realm. So I think that was great and fantastic. And I'll see you next month, my friend.
Thanks so much, man. All the best.
Okay, Bill. Bye-bye.